Hello everyone, welcome back to chapter 23 of The Adventures of the Wishing Chair. Now I can't believe we're already on chapter 23, but it's been so exciting and I've loved recording these videos and I hope you're enjoying the story too. Lots of adventures and lots of mischief the children and Pixie have been up to. Now in the last chapter, Molly and Peter had went to rescue Pixie from the enchanted tower, and just at the end they were about to squeeze him out, but it was too big to fit through the mouse hole. So Peter has gone back to Dimple Cottage to try and get the magic sweetie that will make him shrink and fit out so that they can try and get him out and escape. So we're just going to find out if they manage to do that. So chapter 23 is called The Great Escape. Peter hurried from Dimple's cottage, holding the magic sweetie in his hand that was to make Chinky as small as he was. Then they could all escape down the mouse hole. He ran down the hole and made his way to the cellar. He climbed up the stairs again to the kitchen. He peeped under the door, but there was no one there. He ran over the floor to the little room belonging to the cat. The big grey tabby was still in the basket, and Molly was still there too, hiding safely under the thick fur. Phew. Pixie's still upstairs with Enchanter, she whispered. Just at that moment, there came footsteps down the stairs, and the Enchanter came in. The cat jumped out of her basket and went to greet him, rubbing against Clip-Clap's legs and purring loudly. Molly and Peter crouched down in the basket and tried to hide under the cushion, but the Enchanter saw them. "Aha! I thought I could smell children," he said. He came over to the basket and looked down. "How small are you?" he said. "I did not know that children could be so small. What have you got in your hand, little boy?" Oh dear. What Peter was holding so tightly was the magic red and green little sweet that would make Pixie small enough to go down the mouse hole. Peter put his hand behind his back and glared, but it was no use. He had to show Clip-Clap what he had, and no sooner did the Enchanter see it than he guessed what it was for. "Oh ho," he said. "So you've made yourself small first, did you? And then came in through a mouse hole, I guess? Thinking to make the Pixie small too, that he can escape the same way? Well, I'll spoil all that. You shall grow big again, and you won't be able to creep down any mouse hole. You can stay here, and Pixie will work for me." He tapped Molly on the head and then Peter. They shot up to their own size again and stared at Clip-Clap. What a horrible ending to their plans. They thought they were so clever as well. "Well," said Clip-Clap, looking at them, "you won't escape in a hurry now. I promise you that. No one knows the secret of making the door come in this tower except from me. Pixie, Pixie, come and see your fine friends now." Pixie came running down the stairs and stopped in the greatest dismay when he saw Peter and Molly, both their right size, standing in front of the Enchanter. "So, you had all fine plans to escape, did you?" said Clip-Clap. "Well, now you can just settle down to working hard for me. You'll use those good brains of yours for my spells. Go and help Pixie to polish my bedroom floor, and after that you can clean all the silver wands I use for my magic." The three of them went upstairs very sadly and in silence. Pixie handed each child a yellow duster, and all three of them went their hands and knees and began to scrub. They polished the wooden floor. "Please, don't say a word until we hear Clip-Clap go out again," said Chinky. "He has ears so sharp they'll hear you." So nobody said a word until they knew that Clip-Clap made a crashing noise, which meant he went out of the room. Then they stood up and looked at each other. "What are we going to do?" groaned Peter. "Listen," said Chinky. "I have a plan. Where's the wishing chair?" "It's under a bramble bush outside the tower," said Peter. "But what's the good of that? We can't get out to it, and the chair's not going to get in." I'm not so sure of that, said Pixie. You know that mouse you told me about? Dimple's little servant? Well, if you could speak to her, Peter, and tell her to go to Dimple and tell her what's happened, she might be able to make the wishing chair small enough for Harriet to get it down the mouse hole and into the cellar. I know a spell to make it the right size, and then when Clip-Clap does his disappearing act and goes through the tower door, we'll fly out. See? Oh, Chinky, that's a great idea. You're so clever, said Molly. Peter, go down to the cellar and call Harriet. She might be somewhere about. If not, our auntie will be there. So, Peter hurried down to the cellar and called for Harriet. She wasn't there, but our auntie came, the brown mouse with the large glasses. Peter told her everything that had happened and begged her to go and tell Dimple the elf. She hurried off at once, and Peter waited anxiously to see what was going to happen next. But Clip-Clap came back before anything else happened. He set the three to work polishing his magic wands, but he took the magic out of them first. He wasn't going to have them doing any magic with them. He was clever. After tea, Clip-Clap went out again, and Peter hurried down to the cellar. To his great delight, he found Harriet there, and just inside the mouse hole, she had their wishing chair. It was as small as a doll's house chair. My auntie told me what happened, whispered Harriet. I told Dimple, and we found the wishing chair. Dimple made it small enough for you to take down the mouse hole. Here it is. Good luck. She pushed the tiny little wishing chair out of the hole. Peter picked it up and ran up the cellar stairs with it. Oh, how glad Chinky and Molly would be to see it. Now, I must make it big again, said Chinky. He felt in his pockets and took out a duster coloured yellow and green. It had a queer smelling polish in the middle of it. Chinky began to polish the chair as hard as he could. As he polished it, it grew bigger and bigger and bigger. The children watched in amazement. At last, it was its usual size again. Where shall we hide it? Asked Molly. Oh, I say, don't hide it anywhere, said Peter. What about us all getting into it and then just wait until Clip-Clap's come back in and then we can go? As soon as he opens the door, we'll yell for the chair to fly out and off we'll go. Then the enchanter won't know what's happening until it's too late to stop us. Yes, that's a splendid idea, said Chinky the Pixie. We'll do it. Come on, let's get in it, quick. The enchanter may be in any moment. We must be ready to go. The good old wishing chair still has its wings, said Molly. Wouldn't it be awful if they went and we couldn't fly away? Oh, don't say things like that, said Peter. Not in front of the chair. You know how silly it can be sometimes. Have you forgotten the time it landed in a chimney and got stuck? It likes to play pranks. Shh, said Chinky. I can hear Clip-Clap coming. Quick, quick. Crash! The tower split in two and a great door appeared in a slit. It opened and in strode Clip-Clap, calling out, Pixie, Pixie, where are you? Home, wishing chair, home, yelled Chinky. Hello, Clip-Clap, come in, I'm here. The chair rose up in the air, flew past the left ear of the astonished enchanter and shot out through the door before Clip-Clap could even realise what was happening. They were safely out in the woods again. There's Dimple and Harriet below, look, they're waving, said Peter. Wave back, you two, wave. They all waved down to Dimple and Harriet and called out goodbye. We'll send them a postcard when we get back, said Molly. They were so good to us. Won't Clip-Clap be a bit angry to think we've escaped, after all? She said. I say, you ought to go and tell your mother we're safe, said Peter. She was really worried about you, Chinky. Oh, I'll go tonight when you're both in bed, said Pixie. I'll take you home safely first. Oh my, what adventures we've had since this morning. It's been a long day. Oh, I'm not going to quarrel ever again, said Molly, as the chair flew into the playroom door. She jumped off and flung her arms round Pixie. It was horrible when you didn't come back. I really didn't mean what I said, Pixie. You'll always be our friend, won't you? Oh, of course, said Chinky. He had a big grin over his cheeky pixie face. I would have come back the next day. I was just in a mood. We all were. I'm really sorry too, said Peter. Anyway, we're all together again, friends as much as before. You'd better run in and show your mother you're okay, said Jinky. Mothers are such worriers, you know. You've not been in for your tea, so she might worry. Goodbye. Thanks for rescuing me. So Peter and Molly ran off happily. Thank goodness everything was okay again. Good old wishing chair. What would they do without it? And there is a lovely picture as well on the last page of them escaping. You can see here the magic door that opened, and we've got the enchanter here, very angry that they left. We've got little Harriet, Dimple down there, and then we've got the children and Pixie escaping out of the magic tower. And that is the end of chapter 23. So they're all back home safe, but where will they go next, I wonder?